Yo, what up, tube? What's the business out there? We want to talk about this old story. It's about a little over a month old. I just came across it. You guys might be more familiar with it than me. It is probably can take it with a grain of salt, but you know what they say: where there's smoke, there's fire, and you never know. This, you know, could be something that's just been thrown against the window to not be taken seriously, and it could mean everything. It could be like on some real shit. This is by basically anonymous.com. Uh, I'm gonna leave a link to this article in the description column down below, but it's basically talking about a real life purge begins. That's the heading. A real life purge begins. 17 LA gangs have sent out crews to follow and rob city's wealthiest. This is what LAPD is saying. Now, I'm gonna read some of this article. But before I do, and I'm sure all of us, like when they first started making the Purge movies, just think back when the first Purge movie came out. We all viewed it as it was almost like the Matrix. It sparked a lot of thinking and a lot of conversations based on the society we live in today. And we all started thinking, well, what if this, what if this happens for real? It's definitely possible for this to happen for real because of the way funds are allocated through crooked and corrupt politicians and lawmakers who are playing grab ass under the table with manila envelopes full of dirty money, but that's none of our business. So something like a purge actually happening in real life is very likely. I mean, it is something to think about. So when the first movie came out, we all looked at it. Oh, this is different. Okay, okay. And we started looking at the different scenarios, and some of us actually would pay attention to some of the conversations that individuals were having with each other and why they were doing what they were doing, what were going on in their personal lives that sparked this anger and this rage. And then you have a government basically sanctioning these actions for 24 hours. So at that point in time, you watching that movie, in the back of your mind, you thinking this is more than just a movie. The likelihood of this happening is probably a lot higher than a lot of us think. And you know how, they, in a lot of situations, you can be presented with something in an entertainment fashion and think, oh, it's just entertainment. It's nothing to worry about. This stuff, that'll never happen. No, it's just fiction, fiction, fiction. Mind you, a lot of the technology that we use today was looked at the same way yesteryear. Oh, that's fiction. That's just nothing. Very interesting though, very entertaining, but that's fiction. That'll never happen. You'll never be able to talk into your watch. You'll never be able to video call somebody and they can see you talking. That'll never happen. That's fiction, fiction, fiction. And then you have a movie series like The Purge to come out that would tap into that primal instinct that a lot of humans have, especially when you put in a fight or flight situation. Mix that with sorrow and like anger and rage and being desperate. Put in a desperate situation, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, you can think about, okay, if I'm in a desperate situation, I may or may not do this and that. Well, you're answering that question from a position of not being desperate at that moment. So when you're actually in that moment, do you really know what you would do? And that's why I found this story very interesting. Even though it's old, came out like April 17th. Well, let's peep what they talking about a little bit down here. Los Angeles, more than a dozen Los Angeles gangs are targeting some of the city's wealthiest residents in a new and aggressive manner, sending out crews in multiple cars to find, follow, and rob people driving high-end vehicles or wearing expensive jewelry, according to police. In many cases, they're making off with designer handbags, diamond-studded watches, and other items worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, and then peddling them to black market buyers who are willing to turn a blind eye to the underlying violence, police said. In some cases, suspects have been arrested but then released from custody, only to commit additional robberies, police said. And this is the whole California state as a whole when it comes to dealing with their crime problem. The whole liberal democratic ideology of California is why things like this is easy to happen. You can go out and commit violent acts, violent crimes and robberies, and basically get a slap on the wrist. Where's the disincentive to doing that if all you're gonna get is a slap on the wrist? Because if that's the case, then the criminal's just thinking, okay, well, if I get caught, I'm gonna get a slap on the wrist. If I don't get caught, I got a truckload of money and jewels to sit on and sell and profit off of. So as I'm weighing the scale, which direction should I pull in? And that's what you get with the whole ideology and the lawmakers' minds in California. The whole democratic fucking landfill of a state is why this type of stuff is happening. And it's crazy. When I was a kid, I wanted to go to California. I mean, whether it was to live or to visit, I always wanted to go to California. Never been in my life. Had the chance. I was living fucking next door to California for a while. I was living in Las Vegas. But because of the whole system that they have set up out there and the whole liberal just mess that they have out there, it just ruined it for me as far as wanting to go to California. I could have easily jumped on the highway, drove them a little 3-4 hours and been in LA. But instead I was like, nah, I just chill in Vegas. So yeah, they did a lot of ruining. I'm gonna leave a link to this article in the description box down below. You guys can check it out for yourself. They continue down below with, those are among the conclusions of a Los Angeles Police Department task force convened at the end of last year to identify the cause of a sudden surge in follow home or follow off robberies, so called because victims are robbed soon after leaving luxury boutiques and hotels, ritzy restaurants, trendy nightclubs, and other locations where the gangs are scouting for targets. According to Captain Jonathan Tippett, who superheads the task force, police have identified at least 17 gangs, most based out of South LA, and operating independently that are involved. There were 165 such robberies in 2021 and 56 so far this year, he said, including several over the weekend. Okay, so you guys can peep that out. I mean, from the very first movie that I saw, the very first one, I had a feeling that this would be a thing. It's what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's basically that scenario. You can say the movie planted the idea in people's minds, or you can say that some people in higher tax brackets that might be privy to information before the rest of us maybe seen something like this coming down the pike anyway, especially dealing with all the corrupt politicians that they might be rubbing elbows with and sending donations to and stuff like that. And then they get these ideas, let's make a movie about it. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? They might have known about something like this eventually taking part. Maybe certain government officials have been talking about it behind the scenes. Hey, what if we did something like this? You know, especially when you look at the whole ideology and the thought process of population control. I mean, all the things that we've gone through that have affected population control, like low birth rates, abortion, murders, and this is just one more thing to add on to it. So what if governments of the world, or let's stick with America. I'm in America. I'm in Chicago. Let's say America decides to do a countrywide purge once a year for 24 hours. I believe I think I only watched two of them, but that's the general thought process of it. So they try this, and they get the results the next day, like when the 24 hours is up. I think is it 24 hours? I haven't seen it in so long. I might watch it again. I haven't seen the latest one. But when the time is up, as far as murder, rape, robbery, everything being legal, and you tally up those numbers and they look at all the people that were murdered. If you're a proponent of population control, that would probably make you very happy, looking up something like that. And that probably would make you say, hey, well, let's do more purges. And I can see that being a thing in the future, very near future. And looking at these LA gangs, I know they want to push it on them, but the way the laws are in California, they're allowing this to happen anyway. You just slapping people on the wrist and letting them out again. So this is what you have when you have a predominantly run Democratic state. They think they're so smart and so savvy, yet their states are the most violent and dangerous to live in. Picture that. Speaking of Democrats who don't have any damn sense, let's check out what your president has to say. Sounding so gleeful over monkeypox. Go figure. I wonder if him and his friend Bill Gates have been talking. Him, Bill Gates, Biden, Bill Gates, and Fauci sitting at the table thinking of the next pandemic to come up with. Well, what does he have to say? Biden says everybody should be concerned about spread of monkeypox because my friend Bill Gates said so. And, no, that's what I said. Cut that last part. But check it out. Joe Biden said Sunday that everybody should be worried about the spread of monkeypox recently, and his national security advisor assured the public that the U.S. has a vaccine that is relevant to treating the virus. Oh, how convenient. You guys got a vaccine already for it, huh? I'm going to leave a link to this article, and this is being reported by The Guardian. I'm going to leave a link to this in the description box down below. But it makes you wonder, though, like, you guys got a vaccine for monkeypox already, huh? So apparently you guys have been playing with this for a long time. And that's probably one of the main reasons that COVID popped off. All these little experiments and these viruses and stuff. Trying to see what works on who, and why is this group of people more immune to certain viruses than another group of people? How do we come up with a universal virus that fucks everybody up? That's what it's starting to seem like. Because I don't know, what would make them want to study monkeypox? I mean, how is it that they have a vaccine for monkeypox already? The one recent case that's just been reported is only, I believe, like a week old, I think. Week and a half, 2 weeks old. And they have a vaccine already? Huh. That's interesting. During an official visit to South Korea, Biden told reporters, "They haven't told me the level of exposure yet, but it is something that everybody should be concerned about." The president, who was speaking at Asan Air Base, also added, "It is a concern in that if it were to spread, it would be consequential." Yeah. It sounds like another preemptive strike on the American people, if you ask me. I mean, isn't there some kind of law in regards to treason if your government uses biological warfare to attack the citizens of the country? Isn't there something on the books against that? You guys tell me. But I'm going to leave a link to these articles in the description box down below. Let me know what y'all think. Like, share, and subscribe. If you like my content, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos that I throw out there at any given time. But yeah, that being said, don't choke on woke.